We are now joined by coach, author, speaker, and educator Paul N. Larsen. A current member of the respected Forbes Coaches Council, Paul brings over 30 years of business experience with Fortune 500 companies in airline, healthcare, finance, and technology industries, giving him a keen perspective on the inner workings of diverse global organizations and their common challenges. Please welcome Paul N. Larsen.
Cracking your imposter code. Hello, everybody. This is Paul, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here with all of you today to talk about cracking our imposter code. First of all, hello, I am stressed. I can be proud. I can be jealous and angry, excited, motivated, inspired, judgmental, because I'm human. So let's give a big shout out to all of us to wear the name tag that says, hello, I am human. Many, many times it feels like we're pushing this big boulder up a hill. And it really is sort of like who I am versus, hello, who I should be. And it's pushing and pushing and pushing. And it feels like we're just carrying the burdens. We're carrying that weight as we try to progress through life. You know, one of the pivotal boulders I had in my life, one of those times where I was pushing a boulder, and it could have been even a lot less than this one because it doesn't take me a lot to have to get really tired pushing anything up a hill. Was in 2005, and I found myself in the role or the job of a lifetime, at least up to that time. And that was, I was made head of HR. I was given the role of head of human resources for a $3 billion company. And what an incredible opportunity. $3 billion company. And I was the head of designing and helping teams and individuals and leaders coalesce and come together to create an incredible culture. And I was scared to death. I felt like a fake. I felt like a fraud. I felt like the boulder was getting bigger and bigger of who I needed to be in this particular role. I felt like I didn't belong here. I didn't belong in this role, even though I had had many degrees of success up to that point. But all of a sudden, oh my gosh, Paul, you're a fake, you're a fraud. And guess what, Paul? People are going to come up to you and they're going to say, you know, Paul, we realize now that you don't really belong here, Paul. Paul, you don't really know what you're doing. So we're going to ask you to now leave. Here's the irony in that story, which played in my head as I'm pushing that boulder up the hill. The people that would come and ask me to leave, the people that would come and tap me on my shoulders would be people from my own department because I was head of human resources. So they would be the people that would be bringing the boxes to my office and asking me to leave. Crazy thinking? Perhaps, but real thinking and a real story that I lived with? Absolutely. And that is what imposter syndrome is. The leading cause of stress that we have in our lives is in our brain. And imposter syndrome sounds like, why would anyone be interested in what I have to say? I'm a fraud. I'm going to be found out. Wait to see how people see who I really, really am. I'm not smart enough. I'm not cool enough. I don't look the part. Everyone else has their stuff together except me. All of these Post-its we put in our brain with imposter syndrome. Now, I've got some great news for you. Really, 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 really good news for you. You are in great company if you've ever felt like that. Now, not because great company is me, because I've had imposter syndrome and I live with it, but because 80 to 90% of successful people, top performers in the world, have admitted to experiencing imposter syndrome at one or more times in their lives. We are in the company of Tom Hanks, the actor, tennis sensation Serena Williams, former First Lady and lawyer extraordinaire and person extraordinaire Michelle Obama, Starbucks founder Howard Schultz. All of them have admitted to having imposter syndrome, and some of them have admitted to having imposter syndrome today. So, ladies and gentlemen, imposter syndrome is not a performance issue. It's not a confidence issue. It's not having a lack of self-doubt. Imposter syndrome is when we feel we need to be somebody else. When we are wearing a mask with a little bit of a shaky smile in order to be successful. Hence the term imposter. It actually was coined in 1978. So it's an official syndrome, so to speak. But it is very real in organizations today. It is very real in life today. And what I want to share with you is, how do we crack that imposter code? First off, 60,000. 60,000. Guess what 60,000 is? No, it's not the number of days in the year or the amount of money I'm going to give out to you today. Wouldn't that be nice? 60,000 is the number of thoughts that we can have in any given day. 60,000 thoughts that we can have in any given day. I mean, think about our days. Our minds are like containers, but we need to start using our minds like computers. We can get all the information we want. We live in such an incredible time where everything is available to us. But that's also part of the problem. So we can have up to 60,000 thoughts a day, which can create almost 60,000 different voices in our head a day. The National Science Foundation did an incredible study in 2005. They said of those 60,000 thoughts, 57,000 of those are habitual thoughts that we just repeat from day to day to day, and hour to hour. 45,000 of those thoughts are actually negative. We're dealing with the negativity of the past. I shoulda, woulda, could have done that. And we're dealing with the negativity or the perceived negativity of the future. The what ifs. Oh, what if that happens? Or what if that happens? Or what if they say that? And that is why imposter syndrome can live and thrive in the petri dishes of our minds. So when we're carrying this backpack, which is the self-doubt, the shame, the guilt, the pain, the desire for approval, the things people did to me, the stuff I believed about who I am, this is all makes up our imposter team. Our imposter team is made up of all of these incredible voices, what I call the saboteurs. They're the pleaser or the restless, looking for that bright, shiny object, the victim or the judge, which is our master saboteur. Any one or more of these voices can team up and become our imposter voice, because remember, neurons that wire together fire together. Neurons that wire together fire together. So what do we do? How do we crack that code? Very simply, this is what I've done for myself. I live with imposter syndrome. I understand it. I know when I hear it. And so I've created a very simple 5-step method to crack the code. First is to be conscious when it happens, to be aware when it happens, to call it out. Okay, this is my imposter speaking. Next, when we call out that imposter voice, I feel like a fake or fraud. Wait a minute. No thanks, imposter. I can take it from here. In other words, release it. So call it out, release it, and then author and reframe a new thought. So I do belong here, and people want to hear what I'm going to say. Whenever we have that imposter thought, we call it out, we release it, and then we author and reframe it and pivot it. We choose then. Once we have that new thought reframed, once we have that new thought, we can always call on that new thought. So we can intentionally choose the new thoughts when we want to go and try new things. And lastly, cracking our imposter code is exactly that. It's cracking our mind. It's cracking those thoughts that we have in our mind. The Japanese have a wonderful philosophy called Kinzuki, and which means golden joinery. So they see the beauty, they see the respect, they see the love of imperfection. So when something breaks, such as a bowl, they put it back together with this golden, beautiful mold. And they look at that with awe. They look at that imperfection with beautiful, beautiful respect. That's what we do to crack our imposter code. We don't try to fight it. We don't try to overcome it. We say, okay, that's my imposter voice. That's part of who I am. There's a beauty in that, but I'm going to release it. I'm going to author a new thought, and I'm going to choose to always, always reach for that new thought when my imposter voice speaks up. And with practice and practice and practice, you too can crack your imposter code and dilute your imposter voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I coach top performers. And by the way, everyone's a top performer, to create their voice of confidence by living their values, focusing their outcomes, using their influence, revealing their courage, and branding their expression. So you leave a very deliberate legacy on the world. Because if you don't author your expression, somebody's doing it for you. Somebody is authoring your legacy for you. So as I close today, this has been just an honor to talk to you about cracking your imposter code. And I want you to leave, and I want to leave you with something that I think is so important and so pivotal. My job is not to change the world. My job is to change my thoughts so our world will change. My name is N Larsen. It has been an incredible pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much.